Greetings, everyone. Welcome. I am Hillary Bardwell, Senior Director of Strategic Planning and Projects at Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, the national office. I use pronouns she, her, and hers. Friends, I am so honored and thank you for inviting me to speak with you tonight at Tampa Bay's 2022 annual meeting. Stephen provided me with a bit of the background and the goal of the meeting. He said, be motivational, get them ready to take on the world. And I asked, what do you really need the audience to take away? He said, we need to double our numbers. We need more volunteers. So immediately I had a flashback to some earlier roles in my career. The first one being at University of South Florida, Sarasota campus. The dean said to me when I asked him, so what's really the goal in my role here as head of recruitment? He said, butts in seats, Hillary. The dean said, butts in seats. Got it. At Rutgers, in creating a career services and alumni relations departments for the grad school for planning and public policy, the dean said to me, grads in jobs and alums engaged. Got it. So Stephen, to align with that triumvirate, which might be pretty cool, I think you might say, bigs for littles, Hillary, tonight. Bigs for littles, that's the message. Okay, got it. We'll be focusing tonight on three things that we talk about a lot at our national office when it comes to youth. Voice, power, choice. Voice, power, choice. And sorry to overuse this phrase that we hear a lot. I'm going to zoom in on the story of my little and me and zoom out on the national perspective and my role in spearheading our LGBTQ initiative. Zooming in on voice, the story of my little Robin and me. We started in 2010 at Big Brothers Big Sisters of Mercer County. Big shout out to them. We were matched when she was 10 till 2015 when we were moved back to Florida. Since then, we've stayed in touch via FaceTime and various phone calls. Today, she is over 21 with two beautiful kiddos. So those of you in the audience who are already bigs, you know there's the beginning phase, that honeymoon phase. We did fun things like what you see here on the screen. She said, oh, I loved playing with your dog, baking, going horseback riding. Well, mind you, we weren't horseback riding. We were horse whispering. And then going to the beach. And then we went on these outings, and one of them being at this fair where they had a roller coaster. Mind you, this is not Six Flags Great Adventure or one of those Disney really big roller coasters. It's a mini roller coaster, and at the top, I closed my eyes, and I said to Robin, I'm closing my eyes. She said, Hillary, you can't close your eyes. You'll miss everything. Well, that stuck with me to this day. If you close your eyes, you'll miss everything. Then there was the messy middle, right? And that was when Robin was in middle school. So she was a bit rebellious. She launched into some pretty risky behaviors. She had a pretty strained relationship with her mom, and she was called upon by her mom to be the translator. When they had to take her little sister to the hospital, the emergency room, which was pretty frequent. It was weekly. Robin was there to translate from English to Spanish, Spanish to English on medical diagnoses, on insurance information. Now remember, Robin is 11 years old doing this. Now in middle school, when she was launching into all these risky behaviors, mom was grounding her because she was getting detention and she was getting expelled, so she got her phone taken away. And she would say to me, so I said to mom, this and this, and I cringed. And I said, Hillary, you can't be a mom. I'm saying to myself, you have to be her big. So we role played and practiced these different scenarios. And I said, here, try this in your own words, of course. So the next week she'd come in the car and she said, I did it. It worked. Phew. So really fast forward now to our time today where we FaceTime chat. She is over 21 with two beautiful kiddos. And she said, you know, I really miss our get-togethers. If it weren't for you, Hillary, she said, and the advice, I never would have started college. I never would have the great relationship with my mom. And you were the role model for me. You are. And I said, well, Robin, I wasn't the role model. I was a possibility model, as Laverne Cox says. So today, she is really genuinely happy. It's so cool to see her in her full potential. I had to clear everything with her. I wanted to make sure she was okay with my talking about her tonight. And she said, oh, of course, I don't mind at all. By the way, I am so proud of you, Hillary. She says that to me. Zoom out to the national perspective. There are 35,000 voices waiting to be heard. 35,000 in the network on the wait list, waiting for someone like you, a caring adult. Now on to power. So Robin and I would do power pose. And if those of you in the audience know Amy Cuddy's TED Talk, there is scientific evidence that when you put your arms in the air for 2 minutes, it empowers you through stressful moments like giving a speech, like tonight. So for Robin and me, she would practice this before a test, before one of those difficult conversations with mom. She told me that she still does it today. Pretty cool. Now, zooming out to the national perspective, the power of this pandemic we've been in. Why mentoring? Why does it matter? Well, I was listening to a Brene Brown podcast recently where she said approximately 60,000 kids, K through 12, are going back to school having buried a parent or loved one. 60,000. So I looked that up and I found NIH, National Institutes of Health, cited, and you see here, from April 2020 to June 2021, 140,000 kids under the age of 18 have lost a parent, a caregiver, a significant person who provides basic needs, love, a home, food. And more specifically, children of racial and ethnic minorities are accounted for 65% of those who lost a primary caregiver due to the pandemic. Suicide and mental health, to drill down further, a study by a recent Trevor Project research cited 42% of LGBTQ plus seriously considered suicide, 31% Native and Indigenous youth, 21% Black youth. And that goes on and on. It's so important. And once more, mental health and these disparities goes on, that 48% wanted counseling, but were unable to access. 72% reported generalized anxiety. And this is even more pronounced with 67% of Black youth, LGBTQ youth, and 60% of Asian Pacific Islander LGBTQ youth. The power of mentoring on the positive side, those of you that are already in matches, you already know. For those of you that are in the audience that are thinking about it, you're hearing my story, you can be that one caring adult that'll change the trajectory of a youth. Youth who report having one accepting adult were 40% less likely to report a suicide attempt in the past year. That's the research right there. That's why you should do it. Abby Wambach, who we love as the world-renowned soccer player, speaker, and resident of Florida with her wife, Glennon Doyle, in her book, Wolfpack, she says, and I quote, "Claim your power and bring your full humanity. Clear the way for others to do the same, because what our families and kiddos and the world needs is nothing more, nothing less than exactly who you are. It's about stepping into your power." Lastly, choice. Zooming in on my little, she chose to be a mom and she adores it. She is so amazing at it. And I asked her, what's your advice for the people in the audience tonight? And she said 3 things. First, listen to your little. Hear them out. Second, find a way to make them feel welcomed. And third, trust them and trust each other. Lastly, choice as we zoom out to the national perspective. Before I do that, I want to say that through my working with Robin and our initial initiative with the LGBTQ work, I have learned that I've chosen what I can do in my power. And I've chosen to be a better leader, to do everything in my power to stop the areas that I can to close the mentoring gap for all. So you all have a choice. You all are leaders. You may be saying, I'm not a leader, and yet you are all leaders. You chose to get out of bed today. You chose what to eat today, as Abby Wambach said, and you chose to come here tonight. You have a choice. You can lean in. You have a choice every day, every moment in what you do. You can be a possibility model. You can choose to be a caring adult. So use your voice, your power, and your choice. Lean in and be a big. What can you do? Here's the menu of options. You can be a big. If you're already a big, listen. Make them feel welcomed and trust them. You could be a partner. If you're with an organization, collaborate with Big Brothers Big Sisters Tampa Bay. Enroll a child if you're a family member or know somebody who really has a child that could benefit. And donate. Money helps. And lastly, going back to Bigs for Littles, folks. You are the example. You're the inspiration. You're what we need. You are perfect. So in closing, we are all going to do right here, power pose, right? And I'm going to check in with Stephen to make sure you're all doing it and you did it for a couple minutes or however long you have. Thank you so much, everyone. It's a pleasure.